If I'm one of the world's great salesmen, how come they ain't buying? So there's a difference between presentation and persuasion. There were two great orators of antiquity. One was Cicero, he was Roman. The other one was Demosthenes, he was Greek. And they were both great orators, great speakers. But it was said of Cicero, when he spoke, everybody said, "What a great speech." It was said of Demosthenes, when he spoke, everybody said, "Let us march." And that's the difference between presentation and persuasion. And if you haven't picked up this phrase yet, now's the time to put it here. Results is the name of the game. If I can persuade you for results, I don't want to know you're great on this stuff 6 months from now. I want to read your bank balance 6 months from now. Your style, your language, the changes, the results, tangible, intangible, progress, steps. See, that's what it's all about. Results is the name of the game. Let me give you a few simple keys to remember in learning the art of persuasion. First of all, become a good storyteller. It's one of the best ways to persuade is to use stories. Jesus, master teacher, was the great storyteller of all time. He said the kingdom of heaven is like a man, it's like a woman, it's like this, it's like this. Always telling a story, human stories to illustrate what you're trying to get across. So become a good storyteller. Now, to be a good storyteller, you got to collect stories. It's one of the reasons for your journal. Okay. It's one of the reasons for your journal is to collect stories. Just don't miss any of the stories that can help you. You just keep this handy and just jot down little things that come your way so you don't miss them. Daily journal doesn't mean you write in it every day, but it does mean you've got it handy. I wrote something from Bernard Shaw. People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. He said, "I do not believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they cannot find them, they make them." Well said, Bernie. Just pick up, keep your journal handy. Gather up the stories, your impressions, so that you can tell the stories of where you've been and who you've met and things you've read. Okay? Learn to be the teller of stories. The art of persuasion is correct handling of the facts. Don't exaggerate. The correct information. Nothing destroys credibility like a misuse of the facts. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 500, it's 500. Make sure the numbers are correct and the facts are correct. Your meticulous sticking to the facts will make this credibility so strong. Okay, next is quotes. Learn how to quote. Sometimes you can't say it quite as well yourself as someone else has said it. So be a gatherer of quotes and learn quotes that can help to illustrate whatever you're wanting to say. And quotes are also a good attention getter. Do you notice how, you're just going along in conversation and you quote something? People just listen a little better when you quote. You quote a poem or a sentence or a saying or something. It's really helpful in the art of persuasion, getting attention. It also shows you've done your homework. You are really interested enough in your subject to gather up the quotes on the subject. So use quotes. Here's another one in the art of persuasion, oratory. And if you're not, involved in sort of speaking in public or to groups of people, you may not be so involved in oratory, but even in personal conversation, really, public presentation is only an extension of personal conversation. That's how you practice your public presentation, personal conversation. Don't make one separate from the other. Be just as good a storyteller in person as you are on the platform, or as you are in public, or as you are to your office, or to your group, or to your salespeople, or your organization, or whatever. Be a good storyteller wherever you go. Learn how to get your point across one-on-one, just as important as one on a group. Okay? That way you get lots of practice, because we're always talking and visiting and chatting with people. But make it a practice session. Now, oratory is just saying something extremely well for just a little burst of time. I have a little bit of it in the evening seminar when I come to the disease of attitude called complaining. It's in there. When I say, spend 5 minutes complaining and you've wasted 5, and you may have begun what's known as economic cancer of the bone. Surely they will soon haul you off into a financial desert and there let you choke on the dust of your own regret. Now, that's just a little what we call a burst of oratory, right? It's just something well said, well put together, and you just use it. Here's another part of the art of persuasion, straight talk. We've all used the expression, it's a good expression. Let's tell it like it is. Almost everybody's willing to say, level with me. Just let's tell it like it is. Straight talk. And we can all use straight talk. Here's the next one, challenge. Everybody responds to a challenge. So I'm not sure you can do it. I don't know. See, all you got to do is say that to me. Right? So I bet you can't make another $1 million in the next 6 months. How much we got riding on this, right? I mean, that's all I want to know, right? What is the bet? Hey, we all respond to a challenge. And if you're good at giving somebody a challenge, whether it's a small one or a large one, whether it's a small step or a long step, just challenge people to change, challenge them to grow, challenge them to buy, to decide, to try, to move. If you're good at challenge, you'll be good in the art of persuasion. Last, in the art of persuasion, the greatest element in the art of persuasion is a passionate belief in something. We're all affected by people who passionately believe. Maybe it's an experience, or maybe it's a philosophical viewpoint, or political, or social, or something. These incredible people that have this unbelievable ability to feel strong, immensely strong about an idea, see, that'll affect everything else you do. A passionate belief in something. And probably the greatest illustration of this passionate belief and how it works in the art of persuasion is a story about Paul, the great leader of the early Christians, formerly known as Saul from Tarsus. After his conversion, he became a unique champion of the early Christian church. In fact, he had a nickname. They called Paul the Great Persuader. That's what they called him. I'm sure the story went around saying, if you don't want to be a Christian, here's a guy you don't want to get around. I mean, he's got this incredible story. If you get close to him, he'll put his story on you. And unless you're terribly strong, he'll get you. He's got this story. Not only does he have the story, but he's got this incredible ability to tell it. And sure enough, he must have been the great persuader. His reputation preceded him. The story says, unfortunately, one day he found himself in King Agrippa's dungeon. And they brought King Agrippa the news. They said, "Oh, King, you may not know it, but you got a fairly famous man in your dungeon." Agrippa said, "Pray tell, who have I got?" They said, "It's Paul. Paul, this leader of this Christian thing." Agrippa said, "How incredible." He said, "I'm curious. I'd like to hear his story." So the story said he sent for him and they got him out of the dungeon and stood him in front of the king with the shackles on his feet and the chains on his hands, fresh out of the dungeon, stood him in front of Agrippa. Agrippa says, Paul, I've heard about you and this Christian movement. He said, unfortunately, you find yourself in my dungeon. But he said, I'm curious about this whole thing. What's going on here, this whole Christian movement? He said, I'm curious. He said, why don't you tell me your story? He shouldn't have asked, right? One of the greatest classic stories of ancient Scripture. One more time, with unbelievable eloquence, this unique man, formerly the persecutor, now the great leader, tells his story one more time. And he tells it so well, the story of his conversion, how he used to persecute the Christians, and now he's the leader, told about his conversion on this road to Damascus. And he tells his story so well, he winds it up by saying, "O King, I wish you were just like me. Except for these chains, I don't wish that on you, fresh out of someone's dungeon. But the feelings, the conversion, being on this side versus that side, you can't believe what it's like." And once again, he told the story with such eloquence and such passion and such belief and with such detail that sure enough, it got the job done. The story says King Agrippa, after Paul finished his story, sent him back to the dungeon, but before he sent him back, he said, "Well, sir, I must admit, you have almost persuaded me to be a Christian." What a classic story. Somebody says, how good can you get at this stuff? You can almost get the king. I mean, that's how good you can get. And everybody else in between you and the king doesn't have a chance. Once you get good at the art of persuasion, telling your story, learning identification and logic and reason, learning to paint pictures and solutions, learning to give quotes and write your own, make this whole mixture of communication something that is a daily important part of your life. And sure enough, if you'll get good at it, as you can, very few people will be able to escape your influence, whether they're children or business people, family, friends, or people from distant lands. Communication, the art of persuasion. I wish it for you as much as I wish anything else for you.